Garmajoba, welcome back. So today we're going to look at some more interesting information. I don't know what else I can do to show you. Maybe you're not living in the best, maybe you're living in the best country, but you can compare your country with Georgia, which I'm trying to get you to come to, buy a property of course, but take a look at Georgia. It might not be for you, but I'm trying to show you, compare cost of living, which I did in the previous video. Today, I'm going to show you crime statistics. So there's an organization that they compile crime around the world. They show you the safest countries and the not so safe countries. That's what we're going to take a look at today. Is the crime in your country less than in Georgia or more than Georgia? It's only, I'm not going to give you the answer right now, but we're going to show you, and you can see where your country is on this chart, and this is for 2021. Obviously we can't have 2022 because the year's not over yet, but this is the whole year of 2021, and we're going to go show you the different countries, which is safe, which maybe you thought was safe is not so safe. Some of these countries I actually lived in, and on this chart they're ranked not so safe. And actually in the countries that I have lived in, I never saw any crime and never had any problems. So you can't go by this this chart 100%, because obviously we know some areas we live in are not going to be very safe. Some areas in the same country, even the same city, are going to be safe. You know there's areas in your own city you kind of stay away from, you don't want to go to. And that's, I guess, the same with every country in the world. So this is really not the maybe the best metric of finding this is a country for you to go to or not. But you know, it's an idea. You take this into account. You take the cost of living into account. Even in Singapore, everyone says Singapore is so expensive. I've been to Singapore many times. Staying in a hotel is quite expensive. But you can go out and eat on the street. The street food is very nice, very safe. The government, if you complain about an establishment, even on a street food, the government comes shut you down. I think if you have 2 complaints, the government comes shut you down until you fix the problem. So the food quality, and even on the street in Singapore, is very safe. And of course, you eat on the street, it's very cheap. But I've been to go into a tourist area. Right before the tourist area, and this is literally, you have to cross a bridge to get into this tourist area. But on the one side of the tourist area, to buy an ice cream, it costs $1 Singapore dollar. You cross over to the bridge into the tourist area, basically just a walk bridge, it was $1.50. Is that a big deal? Well, not so much a big deal, but that's kind of the point. Is depends where you eat, where you go. If you eat in a tourist area, prices are always more expensive. That's everywhere in the world. But Singapore can be quite cheap to eat. You just have to know where to go. Anyway, let's get on with this. This is crime in the world for 2021. Let's see where your country stacks up. All right, so as I said, this is by World Population Review. The countries in the world, I think it's the top 147 or 147 countries we're looking at. Either way, let's get going. So the countries with the highest crime rates. This is the top 10. Number 1, Venezuela is the worst country in the world. I guess that kind of makes sense for what's going on now. But this is expressed per 100,000 people. Kind of make it a little more even throughout the world. Some countries have more people, some have less, of course. So I think all these countries on here are pretty much expected. Trinidad and Tobago, it's kind of a touristy country. You wouldn't expect so much crime, but they got it. Not even a big country. Guyana, I've been next door to Suriname, so I didn't really, actually in Suriname I hear a lot of stories about crime. I never saw it, but I was there for a few weeks actually. Traveled around a little bit, but Guyana's quite high, and that's right next door. Jamaica, number 10. Actually, it's always been known for crime. I've been in Jamaica when I was a teenager. That was a long time ago, and it was already known for crime. You didn't want to go outside your resort. But even now, towards the resorts, they're having a lot of problem. But the government kind of keeps it under wraps a little bit. But still, number 10, Jamaica, big tourist country. You don't want to go there unless you want some crime. But I think most of the top 10 is quite expected. Afghanistan, some of those places. Brazil, you wouldn't expect it, but there it is. Big country, a lot of crime. I guess more pickpockets and things. But anyway, here we go. I got a couple things circled here, but this is up to 11 to 28. Number 19, Puerto Rico. A lot of people are talking about moving to Puerto Rico, going to Puerto Rico, have lower tax rates. You can still be an American citizen, lower your tax rates for your business, but high crime. Right next to that, number 20, Bahamas. Very big tourist area, especially if you live in Florida. A lot of people like to go to Bahamas. A lot of crime there. I don't know if they still like to go there now, but a lot of people from Puerto Rico and Bahamas come to the mainland U.S. You have to wonder why, or maybe you don't have to wonder why if you see this chart. Both of these, you could probably go back for years and they don't change too much. You can see Angola, number 13, Puerto Rico, number 19, not too far away. Bahamas, 20, Libya, 21. That's quite strange, but very interesting. So you really want to stay out of these areas. Look at number 28, Fiji. Fiji, everyone who wants to go for honeymoons or vacations or holidays. High crime in Fiji. Not really the place to go. Actually, a lot of people talking about Belarus, number 24. High crime. A lot of people interested in going to Belarus, moving to Belarus. But I didn't realize it had so much crime there. I was actually looking into Belarus a little bit. Might be a little too much crime for me. All right, number 29. Next page. Malaysia. I lived in Malaysia actually many years. I don't know how many years already, 6, 7 years. Had my own business there, worked there, lived in a couple of different, about three different areas throughout Malaysia, around KL area. I never saw any crime, never had any problems with crime. I guess there's crime there. It's 29. I didn't expect it to be more crime than Colombia or Uganda. But there you go. So that's why I said you can't really go by these charts for 100%. It's just giving an idea. You have to take other things into consideration. But yeah, if I would have saw this, I probably never would have gone to Malaysia. But like I said, I never had problems in Malaysia. I never heard of areas not to go in Malaysia where there might be high crime, but never had any problems. Actually, number 39, Mexico. Less crime than Malaysia. In the Western media, especially U.S., you hear a lot of bad things about Mexico. So it's kind of interesting that Mexico has less crime than Malaysia. Mexico 39. Look at number 44, France. A lot of crime in France. More crime than Cambodia, which is an interesting country people are looking at to move to, lower their taxes, have a better way of life in Cambodia. But man, France has more crime than Cambodia. All right, next page, 47 to 64. You can look at Iran's 48. Sweden is 54. Who would have thought Sweden has so much crime? Guess you let a lot of immigrants in too quickly. That's what happens. It's interesting that the United States is a little bit better than Sweden. That's interesting, but the United States is still 56. It has more crime than Vietnam, 63, which I lived in for a little over 3 years. Never saw any problems in Vietnam either. I never was told about areas don't go into, but I didn't travel through much Vietnam, just mostly working. But Vietnam is right next to number 64, United Kingdom for crime. That's quite interesting. You might want to go to Vietnam instead of United Kingdom if you take in the cost of living. But we saw cost of living in Vietnam is not that cheap, especially compared to Georgia. Let's go to the next page. 65 through 82. Indonesia is number 65. Indonesia had less crime than the UK. I lived in Indonesia many years also. Never saw any crime or had any problem with crime, but you watch the news, you can see there's crime there. Obviously, there is crime there. But Indonesia has just a little more crime than Greece, 66. And there you go. Ireland's right next, 67. A lot of people talking about going to Ireland for doing business. A lot of crime in Ireland. More crime in Ireland than in Panama. Who'd have thought? 75, Australia. Australia used to be the country to want to go to. But there's number 77, New Zealand. Both of those have more crime than Sudan. And then you have Canada, number 82. Even the Philippines. Philippines might be kind of an interesting place to look at for living, but they have less crime in the Philippines than Australia and New Zealand. That's something to think about. Anyway, 82, Canada. Next, 83 to 100. Number 86, Russia. Who'd have thought Russia would have less crime than Canada or the U.S.? Another country, Turkey. A lot of people were looking at Turkey to live, buy property. They're having a little financial problem this year, but who knows? Number 88. Number 89, Thailand, right next to Turkey. Thailand, a lot of people are looking at moving to and going to. So that's something to think about. Let's go to number 99, Norway. Norway, who would have thought there'd be much crime in Norway? They have less crime than, a little more crime than Kuwait at number 100, but Norway, 99. You always think that'd be a peaceful country. 100 to 119, 103 is Spain. Spain has less crime than Norway. Look at number 104, Azerbaijan. That's a neighbor to Georgia. And number 105, Israel. They have a wall around there, high security in Israel, but they're only 105. Poland is safer than Israel. Cuba is safer than Israel. 114, Singapore. Very safe country. I would have thought they'd be a little higher up on the list since it's an island, not a big population. Most of the people that, if you're born there, you're going to have to go into the military or police force. So it's kind of surprising they're only 114, right next to Finland. But there you go. Let's look at the next page. 120 through 137. Number 122, Saudi Arabia. You know, they're tough on crime in Saudi. You might think they'd be a little bit higher up, but Rwanda is actually less crime than Saudi. 125, Iceland, an island of Iceland. You'd think they'd be pretty safe. Not so much crime, but not too bad. 125, can't get much better, but I guess you can if you look at 127, Georgia. That's the country I'm trying to promote, Georgia. We saw the video before about the cost of living. Georgia's quite cheap. The crime, of course, there's crime everywhere, but very low. 127 they're ranked in the world in 2021. Right next to Georgia's Armenia, which is an interesting country to look at also. I'm looking at Armenia a little bit. Have a second plan B. Armenia's a border to Georgia, of course. Japan, 130, small island. A little easier to control, but you'd expect that. Switzerland, 132. Switzerland's always been quite safe. But you see, this is out of 137 countries. The safest country is Qatar. So a lot of these countries in the Middle East are quite safe. But look at Georgia, 127. Only 10 spots away from number 1 being the safest country. So it's not too bad. So there you go. Where did your country rank? It can't be much better than Georgia, because Georgia's 127 out of 137. That's pretty darn good. But there you have it. There's another reason. Maybe take a look at Georgia or take another look at Georgia before you make any final decisions. So So I hope that helped you. Hope that gave you some information, help you make your choices, or help maybe change your choice, or make looking at Georgia a little bit stronger choice. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.